I always heard niche down, niche down, niche down, and I never really had a lot of success. But then I finally niched down, and that's kind of what changed everything for me.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of a new show that we're doing called the HighLevel Journey to 10K series. Today, we're joined by Josh Centers and Jeff Lopez. We'll talk to Jeff towards the end of the interview, but we're going to talk to Josh, who is a veteran, served 2 tours in Iraq, I believe, and after coming out of the service, got into sales and then decided to start his own agency. And we're going to talk to Josh about how he was able to skyrocket past 10K in a matter of, I think, 3 months after he made a couple of changes. So, guys, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Josh, let's dive into it. You came out of the service. You started working in sales. What made you decide, you know what, I'm going to start my own marketing agency?
It was weird. Like always when I was in the military, since I was 25, I was getting sick of filling sandbags and deploying. And I had the dream of wanting to make $10,000 a month. So it kind of started from there. And then when I transitioned out of the military and started going into sales, I started working for companies like Xfinity and Verizon Wireless, working my butt off to the bone. And I realized it was actually really hard to get to 10K without working 14, 15 hours a day. And then I didn't know where I was going to go from. And then I had actually seen this Dan Henry webinar of starting a marketing agency. So that's kind of how I got into the space in itself. And that just lit a fire up under my butt from that point on.
So you had some sales chops already, and you had a fire lit inside of you. What services did you decide to offer?
It was really broad in the beginning. It wasn't specifically lead gen. I started building chat bots for gyms and stuff like that, and just kind of general consulting. And then I always heard niche down, niche down, niche down, and I never really had a lot of success. But then I finally niched down, and that's kind of what changed everything for me.
So how did you choose your niche?
It actually kind of came to me. I did get a little bit lucky. I was actually helping out a client from a ClickFunnels post with a neuropathy campaign, and they wanted some help with the contour campaign. And so I helped them build it out, and then it just saw a lot of success. And at that time, I had literally switched kind of from ClickFunnels over to HighLevel, which made the scaling process a lot easier. So, but once I niched down, man, it took off really almost too fast.
So when we were preparing for the show, you'd mentioned that you were doing varied things for about over 2 years, right? And then you niched in, I think you said October.
Right.
And when you, at that point in October, how much were you doing per month, would you say?
So October, we broke 10K. So it started off.
So the month you niched,
right,
you broke 10K.
Yep.
And then by December of that year, so 3 months later, you were doing what?
25K. I think we had our biggest month in December. We actually hit 39,000, but we broke the 25K mark in December.
Wow, that's fantastic. So, I mean, there's a debate about choosing a niche, but I think this is a strong argument for what can happen when you really focus your efforts and focus on replicating the same thing over and over again, right?
Exactly. I mean, I honestly could not believe it. And still till this day, sometimes I have to pinch myself. It's crazy.
Okay. So on this show, the idea is we're going to talk to people about, where they're at getting to that 10K and then what's the next major milestone. You took an interesting course. So you actually partnered up with another more established marketing agency called Plus Plus, which is where Jeff comes in. So tell me this story. How did you guys get together and what made you decide to partner up?
Well, I actually I knew of him. I actually kind of looked up to him because we were in a group together, and I didn't know that he was literally my biggest competitor. And then, yeah, it was crazy. So this whole COVID thing started happening, and I was talking to him a couple times, and we actually joined up on a project to kind of help because we're serving the same industry. So we joined up on a project together, and I really, really enjoyed working with him. And I think it was, he enjoyed, working with us too. And we just kind of hit it off and then morphed into one. I don't know. How would you say, Jeff?
So yeah, it was basically, he started to make a lot of noise in our industry because we're in body contouring. And then it was like, man, we got these clients that are either going with us or they're going with them. And then like we started to lose a couple clients to him. And I was like, what? Who is this guy? Like looking into him. But then, yeah, COVID happened and we were just trying to create a resource for our clients to, one, be more comfortable during the situation and give them stuff to do to accelerate their sales. Because obviously leads went down. But we partnered because he had started talking about, his sales scripts and everything. And like he had a response method for like rescheduling appointments. And I was like, yo, instead of just using that, I was like, how about we just create a package together and we just let everybody know we join forces? Because it's either they go with you or they go with me. Why don't we just join forces on this and show that we're working together during this and just kind of, set the example for our clients. And then, yeah, it just kind of blossomed into, why don't we just make this a full-time thing?
I really love this story because I think this isn't talked about a lot, which is when you decide to start your agency, you might quickly realize that, hey, I really enjoy doing parts of this, but not all of this, right? Like I feel like a lot of people are really talented salespeople and they would really like to just focus on selling. And for those types of people, I think there are a lot of people in our community that would love to talk to you because it's like, hey, instead of going out there and banging your head into the wall, trying to make that whole thing happen yourself, why don't you just join up with me and be my top sales guy or build my sales department and let's do this together. And whether it's sales or whatever piece, maybe you just love building funnels and not actually doing other pieces of the business. I think a lot of people sort of get stuck on an island when they don't realize that these opportunities do exist and that there's often a lot of synergy that you can find with other people in our industry, which is why I love the HighLevel community. And we're going to try to facilitate a lot of that. So this is a fantastic story. Obviously, Josh, you really blew through the 10K barrier. And it sounds like you guys have big things on the horizon. I'd love to ask you, just in closing, Josh, what are some tips looking back besides niching down? Is there anything else that comes to mind for the young agency entrepreneur who's doing less than 10K, trying to get to that first major milestone?
Yeah, I mean, there's like so many things that you could do. Number one is like make standard operating procedures inside of your business. Like audit your time and, model something that works. So like, if you're like, if you're sub 10K, and you're going to a couple of niches, make sure that, you have like a swipe file of stuff that, that's going to work in that industry and test. Like, don't overcomplicate things. Minimum viable funnels. They don't have to look, my funnels look horrible in the beginning. And now they're like blossomed into this beautiful thing that, have an ROI. But I would definitely say get SOPs and just start calling leads and, don't be afraid of doing sales. And if you suck at sales, absolutely find somebody else, partner with them and have them do it for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. And being an operator guy, I love that. And I think it's great advice. Anytime you do something more than once, stop and start documenting how you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Create that SOP and then constantly revise it every time that you do it, and build yourself a little machine. And then, like you said, if the vice versa, if you hate doing sales, which I think a lot of people are in that boat, find yourself a salesman and team up with them. And it might be a much quicker path to success.
And one thing I thought of, like the biggest issue in the beginning, like the first 2 years is like, I had this like, I don't know, I overcomplicated things where I thought like funnels had to look a certain way. And like, I always felt like I was missing something in the Facebook ads part where like there was a super secret, like special thing that I was missing. And it really is structured around the offer and having something that works. So like, don't overcomplicate it. Like just work, and then, optimize from there.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of times we overthink it when really just keep the goal in mind, right? It's not a beauty contest. It's about achieving a business goal. Awesome. I love it. Well, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next episode of the Journey to 10K.